Let me do my ranking here for those of you who have been asking. You're going to do your top 10 matches like you did last year. I'm not. But what I am going to do here is I have ranked my personal top three favorite wrestling matches of 2018, the matches that I found to be the most fun. So your list is going to look different than mine. This is my personal list. These are the matches I had the most fun watching in 2018. Number three, Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania 34. Yeah, who knew, right? That a Stephanie McMahon match would end up in this list. But here we are. This was easily the match of the night at WrestleMania this year. I don't know if that's a reflection of how bad WrestleMania was or just how good this match was. This was an excellent match. This match was a lot of fun from start to finish. Ronda, her very first match, again, I don't need to go on another rant complimenting her, but she knocked it out of the friggin' park. And even, Stephanie and Triple H, they played their roles perfectly. I love the physical interaction between Ronda and Triple H. We don't typically get to see any sort of woman against man stuff in WWE, so that's the closest thing to it that we're probably ever going to get. But I just thought the way this match was laid out, everybody played their roles perfectly. The fans were into it. They reacted to it exactly the way that you would have wanted them to. They didn't shit all over it. They were never bored. And for good reason, because the match was genuinely a lot of fun. And having been there in the building, I can tell you that the crowd was going crazy the entire time for this match. People were standing up. They weren't sitting down. It was unbelievable. So that was number three on my list for 2018. Number two is, I maintained, the greatest match in NXT history. Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas for the NXT Championship from TakeOver Philadelphia back in January. This is, when I say that this is the greatest NXT match in history, I mean it. This is up there with Sasha and Bayley from Brooklyn. This is up there with Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura from Dallas. This is up there with Pete Dunne against Tyler Bates, which I think was my match of the year last year in Chicago. And this was a step above all of them. This was a fantastic match. From start to finish, great wrestling, great drama. Again, crowd was electric for it the entire time. Surprisingly clean finish with Almas winning just as the heel, no less, winning straight up. No interference, no chicanery, nothing like that. I love the interaction between Zelina Vega and Gargano's wife, whose name just popped out of my head. Candice LeRae. Jesus. Boy, is that disrespectful. She's Gargano's wife. No, it's Candice LeRae, who had not signed with WWE, or maybe she had just signed, but she hadn't debuted yet. But I love that spot where Johnny is on the outside and Zelina comes marching over, and then Candice just hops the barricade, spears her down. I said this at the time. It kind of reminded me of what they did with Elizabeth and Sherry after the Warrior Savage match at WrestleMania 7, where Elizabeth just couldn't take it anymore. And she hopped the barricade and ran into the ring, and she threw Sherry out of the ring. And it was just this great emotional moment. I just loved it. I loved everything about that match. That's everything that pro wrestling should be. And yet, it's only number two on my list for the year, which begs the question, what the hell is number one? The number one match of 2018 is one of the greatest matches of all time. It is Okada Omega 4 at the New Japan Dominion show, 2 out of 3 falls back on June 9th for the IWGP Championship. I still love the fact, by the way, that as of today, as I'm recording this before Wrestle Kingdom in a few days, both of the top champions in New Japan Pro Wrestling can claim to be from Winnipeg. I just love that. This match was outstanding. I don't have enough superlatives to throw at it. This match was great. The storytelling was great. The action was great. Okada took the first fall half an hour in. Omega took the second fall with the one-winged angel. Almost 70 minutes, I think 65 minutes or so. Actually, more than that, probably almost 70 minutes after the bell rang. Omega finally won the third and decisive fall to finally capture the IWGP title in one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. Could it be the greatest match I've ever seen? Maybe. I can't make that claim, now. I'd have to think on that a little bit more. But if it isn't, it's certainly one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. It is a match that, as long as it was, over an hour, And I just got done answering a question on the podcast last week. Somebody said, would you like to see longer matches in WWE, like hour-long matches? Are we ever going to see one again? And I said, I hope not, because I don't think that the fans have a attention span, at least in WWE, I don't think the attention span is there to watch matches that are 60, 65, 70 minutes. Now, the Rollins Gauntlet match on Raw earlier in the year was a great example of when you do it right, I think you can keep people's interest, but I don't see that as being something that they could do on any kind of, with any sort of regularity. But the way they paced this match and set it up and structured it and spaced things out, it never dragged. I was never bored. That's a hard thing to do. I don't care who you are. 720 days for Okada as IWGP champion, who went from holding the title to holding balloons, but even still, he'll go down as one of the greatest of all time. And so those would be my 3 top fun favorite matches for 2018.